there was a few things he mentioned that I will be going back to look into myself because man, I hope you all are starting to see what I was talking about local politics and how it can impact your bottom line. So I don't want to use up any more of Sarah's time. I want to go ahead and move on here, and because guys, this is something that's so important, and I was fortunate to meet Sarah through doing events, and she helped out and hosted a panel at one of our first com events. But she and her husband have opened up an ancillary business, and we've been talking about ancillary companies today. You heard Tony mention ancillary, and we wanted to give you examples of people, and she is a local example of an ancillary business owner, somebody that is currently actively running a business in cannabis that is a non-plant touching business. So Sarah, I want to go ahead and bring you on, and just to let you know, we should have your video queued up. And do you want to go ahead and start with that?
Yes, let's do it.
All
It's
right,
a
good.
brand new video. No one has seen it before.
All right, good deal.
As adults, we are responsible for so much in our everyday lives. Our family, our health, our well-being, our safety. Protection is everything. Lot Green stash boxes give you peace of mind as you strive to protect what's important in your life. Whether you are traveling by car with your stash or storing it away from kids, pets, and others who should not have access. Lot Green stash boxes are smell-proof, water-resistant, and sealed with a built-in combination lock to meet and exceed many states' requirements for cannabis storage and travel. So enjoy yourself. Travel safely. Store your stash away securely. Follow your state's laws with confidence. Consume responsibly. And know that at Lot Green, protection is key.
Awesome. Awesome. I like that video.
Thank you. You all
Awesome.
were the first ones to see it. And there is a VMCC member in there. I don't know if he's on the call today, Ray.
No, I believe
Um,
Ray is not today. I think he's traveling.
oh no. Oh no. Okay.
But I'm gonna send him a text message when we get done and
Yes.
mess with him because he doesn't know. But man, I'm so happy we were able to hop on. And Sarah, I want to start with two things. If you can just kind of explain what you and your husband's background was before coming in the cannabis business space, and then if you can kind of explain how you identified the need for Lot Green. I've been asking people today to share their background and their backstory because we have a lot of people on this attendee list watching that wonder, well, what did a person have to do to get into the cannabis space? And most people were not doing something in cannabis beforehand. So let's kind of start there. Just kind of share what you all's background was.
Absolutely. And by the way, I'm not at my house. I'm at a family member's house, and there's party planning going on. So I'm going to try to keep speaking and muting to mute out the background information. Background sound. So my background is I spent over 15 years in corporate America. My last position, I was vice president of employee benefits at one of the largest employee benefit consulting firms in the country called USI Insurance Services. I basically did sales for Hampton Roads, Southeastern Virginia, even DC and Maryland and Virginia, where I would talk to the C-suite of large employers and tell them about the services that USI provided as far as managing their employee benefit costs, their employee benefit programs. And then once I closed the deal, I would bring in my account management team and we would manage millions of dollars of employee benefit spend. So I came from a corporate background. I come from the sales background, high level sales where I'd have to network and smooth and shake hands and kiss babies and all that good stuff. So I'm very good at networking, very good at connecting the dots. But that's where I came from. And as I stopped that about 2020 and started this business in 2021.
Awesome. So how did you realize there was a need for Lock Green's products? How did that come about?
Oh, yeah. So I have been on the Virginia Normal Board of Directors since about, I want to say 2017 or 2018. I can't remember when, it was so long ago. But because of that, I've always been very close in the laws to see what's happening, what's progressing, what needs to be fought for, getting the community engaged. And in 2021, there were rumors that the governor was going to push up the legalization date, which he ended up doing, right? July 1st was when adult use cannabis became legal. But when I'm reading through the law, specifically with open container, is the open container law, which is how you can travel with cannabis in your car, similar to the open container for alcohol. It was not clear. Well, part of it was clear. It said that if you travel with cannabis in your car, it needs to be in your trunk or behind the last upright seat in your vehicle. But the other part said that it needed to be in its originally sealed manufacturer's container, quote unquote. That's what the law says. And what is that? It didn't exist. It may exist when a legal market comes into play, where you can go to a dispensary, purchase, and go into your car. But then after you open it, then what?
Right.
So because there was confusion there, because I've seen people's firsthand seen people's lives impacted by cannabis law violation, by having fines, jail time, impacting on jobs, life in general. And also because I knew, and I think we all know on this call, that Black people are 3.6 times more likely to be arrested for cannabis than their white peers, despite similar usage. And that's an ACLU study that a lot of people quote. And Black people have just been disproportionately targeted. I knew all these problems existed. So what could we do to educate the community about these laws so that they won't get in trouble? So we came and give them a tool to use. So my husband and I came up with Lock Green, which are smell-proof stash boxes that have a built-in combination lock, where when you're in your car and traveling, you put your cannabis there, you lock it up and put it in your trunk. And I'm always saying that, lock it up and put it in your trunk when you're traveling, because the goal is to have law enforcement not be able to assume that you're consuming while driving. That's called permissive inference. That's what the law calls it. So if we are protecting people, we're giving them a product where they could lock it up, put it in their trunk, and avoid permissive inference, and they will have peace of mind knowing that they're traveling within the law. It also has to do with storage, because in Virginia, as well as many other laws, in Virginia, as well as many other states, they require you to keep it away from children or make efforts to keep it away from children. Sometimes some laws say carry it or store it in child-proof containers. All of that Lock Green stash boxes help people be safe when they're storing and traveling.
And that's important, guys. Let me just kind of shed some light on this for those of you that might not be following local cannabis law. The whole idea of a police officer or a state trooper being able to walk up to your car and say, hey, I smell the tinge of marijuana, and searching your car, that was something that the former governor put things in place to stop law enforcement from being able to do that. The unfortunate side to this situation is, one, there's a lot of law enforcement people that don't know the law. So they're still trying to function from that capacity. So they have no idea that the law has changed because they don't read regulations either. The other part to this, though, outside of, law enforcement not knowing what was going on, you as a consumer have to protect yourself, because young people, I'll give an example. If you're driving back from a football game, it's 12:30 at night, you're driving down 58 and the state trooper comes to your car and he's got the gun on his hip and it's you and your two friends in the car. That's a compromising position. And you're not in the situation, if you're in that situation, where if you got your stash in the glove compartment or in your console, or even worse, on your person, where you're setting yourself up to have to deal with unnecessary crap to just prove that you were legally doing what you were already legally doing. So if you utilize products like Lock Green, it's in your trunk. Now, if you're the person saying, well, no, it's got to be with me so I can smoke while I drive, don't be offended, but you're stupid, because you are opening yourself up to a series of events in that moment that you could completely avoid. And that's why, it was so important for us to get Sarah and Lock Green on. One, to talk about this product that you can take advantage of. She's a local Virginia-based business, but she's able to sell her product all over the country and all over the world. So, she didn't have to wait for a license or wait for, the industry to open up to put her product out. But also, we wanted to talk about this to let you all know that there are people out here thinking about being an advocate for you. And this is one of the most important things, because the majority of people that end up getting arrested for possession is coming from car situations. So this is a way to avoid those situations and educate you, your significant other, and your people about protecting themselves. So, Sarah, since you've had your product out there, since I came to learn about your product, I've seen a lot of people try to do knockoffs, try to copycat. It's amazing how that happens. But when you get something good going, but can you describe for people, because I want to highlight the ancillary business component here. Can you talk about what you and your husband had to go through, and you came up with an idea? How did you take that idea, work it to the point where you have a product in front of you with your company logo on it? How did that come? What did you have to do?
Yes. So it was a lot. And I was listening earlier and you mentioned something about reading. And that is so true. I don't necessarily sit and read a book as much as I could. I have 3 kids and I'm working and I'm doing all kinds of things, but research, the internet, the reading there, listening to podcasts, listening to all kinds of things, sourcing yourself with information was important. So, I first started by calling the wrong people. I was calling I just wanted to figure out how to make a stash box. So I was calling around to like manufacturers or like really distributors. I think they ended up they were the wrong people. Long story short, found out how to get in contact with factories. And then many of these factories, and then I tried so hard to work with a US based factory. They were longer, so much more expensive. So I ended up working with a Chinese factory. I hope one day to be able to work with an American factory. Yeah, like everybody else, I hope to be American made. I would have loved to have been Virginia made. That's the goal. So anybody knows any factory connections, let me know. But anyways, I ended up having to work with a Chinese factory. I work with many of them to see which one is a good fit. I have literally a bag of prototypes and samples that we went through trying to do different tags, different zippers, different styles, soft bags, hard bags, big bags, small bags. And we ended up picking a factory that worked well. But I will say this too. I've never done this before. My husband never done this before. So when I found the factory, I did a lot of research. What did people saying about the factories? How to work with Chinese people, their culture, how to talk to them, what they respect, what they don't respect. And then I started that process from there. Once we got our prototype, actually one of the box that we ended up going with was the one that was like on my lowest end of the list in beginning, and it ended up going up to the top. Once we got that, we had to fund it. We had to we've been bootstrapping this business for a year, and now we're actually looking for funding.
Mhm.
But we had to pay for it up front, bring in the inventory, deal with customs. I mean, there were so many lessons in this process. I didn't even know what a vector file was. And for your
Mhm.
logo, a lot of people know with logos, like you JPEG, PNG.
Right.
They came back and they said, I need a vector file. What's a vector file? You know, I mean,
Right.
it was levels of learning. I mean, I was like jotting down stuff last night because I was like, oh my God, I've had crash courses in so many different things that I've like just, shipping methods. I mean,
Right.
once we got the product, how do you ship it to people? What kind of
Right.
boxes it go in? What's the best pricing? I mean, so it's all been a learning experience, all seeking information and pulling it in and applying it to business.
So let me ask you this loaded question. So
Yes.
would you say that you have had many nights that you end up staying up late and sacrificing sleep to research your business?
Oh my gosh, when you were saying that earlier today, I was like, yes, I haven't watched a Netflix show in so long. Yes, you know what? I gave that up a long time ago.
Mhm.
What I did is I know I am good at organizing and executing. As a consultant for years, you have to do that. Collect all the information, organize it, execute.
Mhm.
So I created a list. Every time I thought of something I needed to do, I created a list. Some of those things had to be done between 9 and 5 because that's
Mhm.
when business is open, right? Some of those things I can do while driving. I needed to learn about whatever I needed to learn about merchandising. So
Mhm.
I listened to a podcast about that while I was driving. Something I could do at night. I had a baby at that time. At night, I'm nursing her to sleep. Well,
Mhm.
when she's almost asleep, I could sit there and be looking at something or filling out a little form that I forgot to fill out earlier. So that to-do list guided everything. And it
Mhm.
didn't allow the time for as much time as I would have liked to watch my Netflix shows and do this and that. I'm focused
Mhm.
on implementing and focusing on making it happen. So yeah, there were a ton of sacrifices that had to happen, time especially.
But that's why
Oh,
you all have a business in the position where now you've put a business in place with a solid foundation. And just as the industry grows and the market becomes more educated, your product can scale with the industry growth. And that's what doing all that prep and research is about. And I knew you had done all of that, but I wanted you to share, to emphasize, because I have, as I'm sitting here fielding text messages and looking at the chat, some people have shot me a message talking about, does it really require that much time? Is it really that hard? Perception of hard is really about you. And you are an example of that, because everything that you were doing, it wasn't like, okay, well, I'm going to quit this. I'm going to walk away from this. It was like Tony was saying, if you commit to it, you'll find a way, because you'll keep figuring it out, researching, looking for an answer.
that's
Because you
right.
gotta remember, guys, if someone else has done this before, there is a way to do it. You have to find out the way. And sometimes it doesn't happen on some easy email, or somebody sends you some link to something and you open it up and right there in the first paragraph, this is how you make $1 million in cannabis businesses. It's not
Yeah,
like that.
that's
You
right.
got to go
That's
find the
right.
information that's relevant to your dream, and then figure out how it fits into everything you have going on. So they have
Mhm.
a successful ancillary business. And I wanted to just share, Sarah, a lot of people don't understand ancillary business. It can be a stepping stone, because you got a product line that basically will be relevant forever in the state of Virginia. And in this country, it will be relevant as long as there is a cannabis industry. But down the
That's
road,
right.
guys, I'm not saying this, I'm not putting ideas in her head. I'm trying to talk about business. Okay, because if you all haven't, the way dudes are out here trying to be a rapper and they're so into it, and oh, they playing basketball all day, that's the way I've been about business since I was 8 years old. You understand? So this is like something that I'm addicted to in researching businesses. And having looked at her business and watched how they hit the market, they are a prime example of a true entrepreneur here in Virginia, because they started a local business that can continue to grow and scale with the industry. But if that product line got put on some reality TV show, or somebody used it on TikTok or something like that, and then 5 million people get exposed, and her company goes from this to like that, her and her husband could sell the company if they choose. And then they could take their $10-15 million, take that money and go do what Tony was talking about and fund other people's businesses or pay for their own coming into the industry to get a license. Or they could continue to have Lot Green as a lane here and then start another business in cannabis without giving up Lot Green. See, that's entrepreneurship. You should be thinking in terms of how can I do more rather than trying to ask, well, how can they make it easier for me?
Yeah, let
Because
me add
it's
on
not
to
going
that
to.
too. Yes, yeah, and let me add on to that too, because you know we didn't wait. We knew that 2024 was the date. 2021 adult use was legal. We jumped right in, right? I worked day and night between April 21st when the governor signed the bill to July 1st to do all this research I'm talking about, implement. We launched a business on July 1st. All I had in hand was a prototype, a sample that we were getting manufactured. We put it on a pre-sale, sold hundreds of them before I even had inventory. So what I'm saying is we didn't wait. We jumped into it, and our goal has always been to build a brand, make it clear that we are here to help people stay safe with cannabis, to help prevent cannabis law violations. We're mission driven, and we're going to do that by educating the community, which I do all the time through panels, through moderating, through social media, through things like this. And we're going to do that by providing a tool to help people stay safe as they're consuming cannabis, storing it, and traveling with it. So we knew that we were building our brand, and then that will set our following, set who we are. That will help us pivot into, having a plant touching business, having a grow, or whatever we decide to do. Other business ideas we have that are ancillary, we can do all of that, but we have to start with who we really are at the core, and implement and make sure that we're making an impact on our community.
Awesome. Well, you definitely have, because like I said, I saw your product. I was like, when I saw that at the normal event where I met you, I was like, hey, that's kind of ingenious. Why did I think of that?
It's something else. Yeah, something else too. That's right. And thing is that we also thought it was important to commemorate. So yes, we want to protect, but it was important to commemorate that Virginia was the first state in the South to legalize adult use cannabis. So we first released the limited edition that has a Virginia tag on it. And then after that, we released other products. We just slowly released products to the market. So yes, it is something. It's been quite a journey.
Awesome. And we got it up on the screen right now for people to see the product. So, Sarah, I want to thank you for plugging in. I'm looking forward to doing other events with you. And as I was telling Tony, VMCC is working on trying to put together economic summit for Black people in cannabis. And the entire event is about the what if, giving model and factual economic numbers of how it can impact our community if we have thousands of Black businesses open up across the state. So I hope to be able to incorporate you into that event. And I'd love for you to share your story and talk with some other new aspiring entrepreneurs about doing ancillary businesses, because as you guys have heard, you can start making money in cannabis without necessarily waiting on a license. This does not require a license, and they're already doing business. So awesome. She's
happy to be there. Just call me, I'll be there.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you so much. You have a great day. Take care. Enjoy your Saturday.
You.
Bye-bye. All right. Awesome job. Awesome job, guys. I am